So I'm Erica. I'm the lead dietitian at Sarah Lynn Nutrition. We're now a team of 30 dietitians who specialize in all different areas of nutrition. We see lots of women's health patients, PCOS, menopause, fertility. We see some eating disorder patients, some pediatrics, some bariatrics. We see lots of weight management, general healthy eating, type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, GI. I'm in the GI functional medicine world. I see lots of Crohn's, colitis, SIBO, IBS, IBD, gallbladder, pancreas, liver. We see lots of thyroid patients and Hashimoto's and cancer, and we see a really great wide variety of patients. So with that being said, we do one-on-one nutrition counseling in person and via telehealth. So we have offices in Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and then we have dietitians throughout the nation actually that allows us to see patients one-on-one 7 days a week, morning, evening. So if any of you guys like what you hear today and would like to meet with one of our dietitians, we'd be happy to pair you. We are fully covered by insurance, which is amazing. We're in network with all major insurances, Independent Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it typically covers our services in full under preventative care. So we're usually able to bypass copays, deductibles, which is like such a blessing. So I would love to get that information out there. We offer our patients different programs. We offer a weight loss without restriction program, a GI program, intuitive eating program, bariatric program, women's health program, which is all included in your visits, but we've developed nice programs to put you guys through. We also can order hormone testing and stool testing and work with your providers. So we definitely like to work with an interdisciplinary care, look at your labs and talk to your other providers too, and really make your care very individualized. Your initial visit is like 90 minutes long. So with that said, we really get to like you as a whole. So how are you sleeping? How's your stress? It's not just like what you're eating. It's a lot like what are your meds, supplements, diagnoses, labs. And we really try to make it very, like I said, individualized. So, but yeah, please answer questions throughout or at the end. And then that sounds great. And I can give you guys the link to our website as well too, if anyone's interested in getting signed up or just want more information. So with that being said, we'll hop into our preventing prediabetes presentation. And like Sarah said, nutrition here, you can prediabetes is totally reversible. So with food and lifestyle things, as we're going to talk about today, like very tangible ways to eat, how to build a balanced plate, and all that to help reverse some of your numbers and stuff. So by the end of this session, obviously we'll go through this, but you'll be able to define prediabetes and explain how it's different from type 2 diabetes or even type 1 diabetes. We will talk about the major risk factors for prediabetes, some that are modifiable, some that are not modifiable for developing it. We will talk about evidence-based nutrition strategies to help prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes. We will talk about carbohydrates and kind of all about them, like quality, types, how much, glycemic index and load, and all of that in regards to blood sugar. We will touch on physical activity and how we can help improve insulin sensitivity, support weight management. We will definitely touch on sleep, stress, hydration, behavioral factors, and how to keep your blood sugar steady. We'll talk about like labs and numbers and stuff and screenings, and then how we as dietitians can help anyone with prediabetes and diabetes as a whole. So prediabetes, so what is it? So it's when your blood glucose levels are higher than normal, but they're not high enough to get a type 2 diabetes diagnosis. Prediabetes usually does not have symptoms with it, but you can detect it through different labs. So when you go to your physical, ideally your annual physical, you should be getting blood work done, and you definitely do a fasting blood sugar, and an ideal fasting blood sugar is 70 to 99. So that is a normal range. When it's in 100 to 125, that's when it's not high enough to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes, but it's not in the clear. So it's definitely in this prediabetes scenario, especially when multiple CBCs and CMPs look like that in a row. So below 99 is the best for fasting blood sugars. But if it's 100 to 125, you're looking at prediabetes. Same thing with the hemoglobin A1C. So hemoglobin A1C is your average of blood sugars over the past 3 months, and you want it to be less than 5.7. In a perfect world, it's even less than 5, but for now, less than 5.7 is our first goal. If it's between 5.7 and 6.4, you're in the prediabetes category, and above 6.4 is where we're talking about type 2 diabetes. Or they might do an oral glucose tolerance test, and you want your number less than 140 at the 2-hour mark. You don't see that as often. Other prediabetes markers could be like a fasting insulin level. And honestly, that's probably it. So your fasting blood glucose, your hemoglobin A1C, and a fasting insulin levels are labs you guys should be looking at. And we would also work with your doctor to suggest that they order that if we think it's a concern. Dietitians don't have ordering privileges, but we can work with your doctors to ask them to write these things and order them for you, and then we'll help you interpret them and work with them. So some risk factors for developing type 2 diabetes. If you're overweight or obese, especially if there's more fat around your abdominal region and around your organs, that puts you more at risk for prediabetes, excuse me. If you're above 45 years old, if you have a family history of diabetes, you lead a more sedentary lifestyle. If you've ever had gestational diabetes, if you have a diagnosis called polycystic ovarian syndrome, could put you at more at risk for prediabetes. Same thing with high blood pressure and higher cholesterol levels. So like I said, nutrition, you truly can reverse a prediabetes diagnosis. It's completely reversible, which is amazing and like great news. So food is either going to fuel this disease or fight it. So we really want to work on keeping your blood sugar steady. Like that is the goal here for lowering your hemoglobin A1C, lowering your fasting glucose. It has to do with keeping your blood sugar steady all day so that your insulin resistance comes down, and then your weight sits at a healthy weight too. So overall, we're going to dive into this more, but overall, we want more of a whole foods diet, less processed foods. We do not want to do any type of, like at Cerebral Nutrition, we're big about not restricting. We're not doing any fat diets. We're not restricting. We're doing like sustainable lifelong changes and tips and tricks. Like we want to teach you guys how to eat like balanced. We're not about, like I said, fad diets, quick fixes, nothing like that. We're about balance, like honestly more of an 80-20 approach so that you can still reach your goals, but you're not falling off and starting on and all that. So we talk about carbs, fibers, proteins, and fats. We don't restrict anything. And then we're going to talk about what to do with sugars and added sugars, choosing the right foods, balancing out your plate, timing of the meals, all that we'll get into. But that all helps reverse these blood sugar numbers. So ideally, half your plate at lunch and dinner, half your plate should be non-starchy vegetables, which we're going to get into. And then the other half should be protein and carbs. We're going to get into this. But lunch and dinner, you definitely want to have those 3 components. You definitely want proteins, fibers, carbs, and non-starchy vegetables. At Cerebral, we definitely can calculate everyone's individual needs. Like how much protein do you need? How much grams of carbs do you need? It's a very individualized approach based off activity, exercise, goals. In general, you want 30 grams of protein at least, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 30 grams of carbs at least at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's probably a lot more protein than people are used to. We'll talk about different meal ideas and stuff, but for example, at breakfast, 1 egg is only 6 to 7 grams of protein. So if you're trying to hit that 30 grams of protein at breakfast, 1 egg is not going to do it. Breakfast sets up your day. Breakfast truly dictates your hormones for the day, your cravings for the day, your blood sugars for the day. Like I know that it's so cliche to say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but especially for our prediabetes patients, breakfast is. Like you want to break your fast within 1 hour. You should be eating breakfast within 1 hour of waking up, and it should have 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of fibrous carbs, at least. That's like the minimum. So some examples of that could be we could go with eggs, but you need to have more eggs than that with 2 slices of toast, for example. Oatmeal would be like your carbs. You need to load up oatmeal with yogurt and seeds and nut butters to make it more balanced. You could do like smoked salmon and like lox bagels, stuff like that. You just want to have 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs. You also can use protein bars and protein powders and shakes if needed. We try to go food first, but if needed, especially like quick on the go things, we could talk about cleaner protein shakes and stuff to try to hit those goals. But it's crucial that breakfast has those components so that the rest of the day goes well. My patients that say that they are like crashing between 1 and 3 p.m., that really speaks to their breakfast. Like, what are we missing at breakfast? Your breakfast should keep you full for 4 hours. That's how you know it was a very sustainable breakfast and it had everything it needed. You can also drink your coffee with your breakfast, but if we're really talking about blood sugar balance, you really want to have food with your coffee. You should not be drinking coffee on an empty stomach. It really disrupts your blood sugars for the day, and then it's hard to catch up. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but I'm trying to give you guys lots of tangible tips and tricks here. So, all right. So carbohydrates. When people think that, oh, like they have an issue with blood sugar, a lot of my patients feel like they need to restrict carbs, pull back on carbs, go low carb, go keto. That's not the answer. It definitely matters what type of carb you're eating and how much and when, but the answer is not to fully remove them. We find that when people restrict, they binge, whether it's right away or later on. So we're really trying to teach you guys like what types of carbohydrates to eat. But carbohydrates is what your brain runs off of. Like bare minimum in a day, your brain takes 130 grams of carbs. So you want to make sure you're having lots of carbohydrates throughout the day. There's different types though, so let's talk about it. There's things called whole grain carbs and then refined carbs. We truly do not want to have refined, enriched, processed carbs like as much. You want a lot more of like fiber-filled carbs. So what that means, I think I'm going to jump around a little bit. Here we go. What that means is the carbs you want to be eating every meal, every day is fruit. Fruit is a carb. It's a fiber-filled carb. Some vegetables, so you know, potatoes, corn, peas, squashes, those are more your starchy, carby vegetables. Beans, oats, potatoes, and like brown rice, quinoa. Those are all like fiber-filled carbs. These are the carbs you want to be choosing more often than not. These are your whole grain carbs. You get a lot more out of them, a lot more bang for your buck than more refined carbs. So carbs that I want you guys to limit more are the white pasta, the white rice, the white breads, the processed cane sugar, brown sugar, white sugar. Those types of carbs are not giving you much to work with, and they're harming your blood sugar levels. So I want you guys to have, the key here is to have carbs every single time you eat. So there should be carbs at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for sure, but it's about keeping the same amount of carbs. So in general, women do well with like 30 to 45 grams of carbs at a meal. Men tend to do well at 45 to 60 grams of carbs at a meal. But the key is that it should be the same at all 3 meals. You want to avoid like a low carb breakfast, a big carb lunch. Like you want to avoid that inconsistency. So having the same amount of carbs at all 3 meals and snacks is crucial. So meals for women, typically, like I said, 30 to 45 grams. Men a little bit more than that, 45 to 60. Snacks for women around 15 to 30 grams, men 30 to 45. So we help you with that. We calculate your needs and we help you, like show you what that looks like, what those are exact examples. Like, so we'll help you with all that. But that's kind of goals to stick with. So do not cut carbs, but you want consistent carbs throughout the day and fiber-filled carbs. That's crucial because a lot of this goes with like your gut health and stuff like that. So most Americans are getting 5 to 10 grams of fiber a day, but the goal is closer to 30. Fiber lowers cholesterol. Fiber fights inflammation. Fiber like helps prevent cancer. Like fiber is, and gut health is, we're learning more than ever, like so important. Like gut health, all autoimmune diseases start in the gut. Mental health connected to the gut. You produce almost all of your serotonin, your happy hormone in your gut. And fiber is what helps make your gut happy. Skin issues, acne, psoriasis, rosacea goes back to poor gut health, leaky gut health. So there's so much that goes into gut health. That could be a whole presentation on itself, which I love and it's my passion. But fiber will only help gut health and will help cholesterol and will help blood sugars. It keeps you full, keeps you regular. So this is where you're getting fiber from, is these carbs. So like I said, I'm trying to really emphasize not going keto and low carb, but choosing the right types and consistent amounts. You don't just want to jump to 30 grams of fiber a day. That will give you a big stomach ache. So go slow. When you up fiber, you want to up water. And honestly, fruits and vegetables, frozen or fresh is fine. Frozen, a lot of people like, I don't know, kind of like talked down upon, but frozen fruits and vegetables are frozen at their peak nutrition. So they're almost even more nutritious than fresh. And you don't have to buy everything organic either. There's something called the Dirty Dozen list. So every year there's a Dirty Dozen list put out. And if a fruit or vegetable is on the Dirty Dozen, those are the ones that you should, if you can, buy organic. If not, it's not the end of the world. But if something's on the Dirty Dozen, it has the most like pesticides and all that. So strawberries are always on it. Spinach is always on it. So if you can buy those organic, that'd be great. But all the other ones, you don't have to worry about it. Especially if something has a skin on it, like an avocado, an orange, you don't really have to buy it organic because you're peeling the skin. So something to think about. But so that's all about fiber-filled carbs. So we really want to reduce these refined carbs. And then I really want to touch on sugars. So I wonder if I have a label in here, which I don't think I do. Let me just scoot real quick. Hang on, I want to show you guys. I don't think I do. The new nutrition fact label finally added sugars to it. So it says total sugars. Let's say it's a yogurt and total sugars is, I don't know, 15 grams of sugar. And below that, it says added sugar. And now it has to tell you how much of those total sugars they added. It's not coming naturally. So the added sugars is what we really want you guys paying attention to in a day. So in a whole day, in a 24-hour period, you want your added sugars to be less than 25 grams. They are really sneaking in added sugars in pasta sauce, granola bars, yogurts, peanut butter, where it's like not needed. Like peanut butter can truly just be organic peanuts and salt. You don't need to have the sugar or the oils, but now they're disclosing and you're seeing that. So I challenge you guys to really look at those products and try to reduce your added sugar. The answer, though, is not to go to diet or sugar-free, because then that means that they're replacing all sugars with artificial sweeteners, which we don't want. Artificial sweeteners are shown to really harm your gut microbiome. So those are things like aspartame, sucralose, xylitol. We really want to limit those things very much. So this kind of list that's for you. So stevia and monk fruit are the only two that have been proven to not do any harm to the gut microbiome. So stevia and monk fruit are okay options. Same thing with honey, maple syrup, agave, coconut sugar. Those are all great and better options. We want to really try to limit cane sugar, white sugar, brown sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and then those artificial sweeteners. So you can have some added sugar in a day. It just comes down to limiting it and making sure it's coming from a better source. For a yogurt, for example, 6 to 7 grams of added sugar per serving is appropriate for a yogurt. Yogurts are kind of where you're going to find a lot of this. But honestly, the alternative to that is just buy a plain yogurt and come home and add your own fruit and add your own sweetener to it, like honey or maple syrup. So I'm not worried too much about like the total sugars and the carbs in an item. I'm really wondering like where it's coming from, because let's say there was 20 grams of sugar in I don't know a good example. 20 grams of sugar in like, I don't know, a fruit cup, but there's going to be none added because all that sugar is coming naturally from the fruit. So that is like your body like does look at that slightly different because fruit has fiber and that helps, balance your blood sugar a little bit. So then let's talk about vegetables. So remember, half your plate at lunch and half your plate at dinner should be vegetables. It could be any form, fresh, cooked, frozen, raw, it doesn't really matter, but half your plate you really want to be non-starchy vegetables. So vegetables that are not corn, peas, potatoes, squashes. Like those are still good for you and there's a time and a place for that, but we're talking about you want most of your plate volume to be filled up with the non-starchy vegetables. They have a lot of fiber, a lot of phytonutrients in it, lots of vitamins and minerals, and they help with inflammation and blood sugar and all of that. So the best choice is your dark leafy greens, phenomenal for you. Things like spinach, kale, collards, cruciferous vegetables, also phenomenal for you. So things like the sulfur smelly ones, like those are the ones you want to have every day. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, cabbage, like those are phenomenal for you. And then in general, though, bell peppers, onions, zucchinis, mushrooms, any vegetable is great. So half your plate you really want to fill with these non-starchy vegetables, especially lunch and dinner. Breakfast, there's a little bit more leeway, but especially lunch and dinner, that should be a goal. And you definitely sneak them in things too. Like I have a toddler at home and I sneak vegetables in his stuff. So you can put them in smoothies. Like riced cauliflower goes phenomenal in a smoothie. You do not even taste it. Same thing with spinach. Like smoothies are a great way to load things up to get your colors and your vegetables. But same thing, they go well in pasta sauces and just same thing. You can roast them, stir fry them, all that to try to get them in any form, but half your plate should be non-starchy vegetables. Then we really got to talk about protein because protein is crucial. I know I put a lot of emphasis on carbs here for blood sugar balance, but protein is just as important, if not more important. So protein is what prevents blood sugar spikes. So I mentioned how I want you having carbs at every single meal, every single snack. There should be good, healthy, fiber-filled carbs. But there also always needs to be a protein. Every single time you eat, there also needs to be a protein. That's crucial. When you eat carbs by themselves, you're going to get a blood sugar spike and crash, which then results in more insulin problems. But when you pair it or put a blanket with it, like with a protein or a fat, you don't get that spike. So, for example, like when you're having an apple, if you dip it in peanut butter, you will not get that blood sugar spike and crash. And it's a lot more filling and it's better for your blood sugars. So protein also needs to be really emphasized here. In general, this is kind of where I also recommend my patients put their money and like prioritize their groceries is with protein. So like quality here. You want to be having at least 30 grams of protein breakfast, lunch, and dinner, at least minimum. So you want it to be good quality protein. What I mean by that is if you can get wild caught fish, phenomenal for you, versus farm raised is the alternative there. Wild caught seafood, by the way, which we should be eating 2 to 3 times a week. If not, we should talk about a fish oil. We could talk about that later. But wild caught seafood gives you like 6 times the benefits, the anti-inflammatory fats, the vitamins and minerals. So if possible, buying wild caught seafood, grass-fed meats. Even I shop at Aldi. All of this stuff is at Aldi at a better cost, I'd say, versus like Wegmans and Whole Foods and all that stuff. But Aldi's does have wild caught salmon. They have grass-fed beef. They have organic chicken. They have pasture-raised eggs. But now more than ever, the quality of our proteins really do matter. So if possible, trying to aim for that. And same thing with good quality dairy. But in terms for this too, in terms of us, dairy is considered protein. So use that to your advantage. So cottage cheese, yogurt, cheese sticks, dairy is considered protein as you're building your plate. So that's very helpful to try to get to that 30. Hitting 30 grams of protein at a meal can be kind of challenging. You want to have at least 4 to 5 ounces of a meat at your meals. That will get you to that 30 grams of protein. So most people hit it at dinner. Most people hit it at lunch, but really trying to make sure breakfast also has that 30 grams of protein. Right. And then healthy fats. So the big 3 macronutrients are carbohydrates, protein, and then fats. We don't want to forget about fats because fats help you absorb a lot of your vitamins and minerals. Fats can be very anti-inflammatory. Fats are very crucial for women and fertility and all that stuff. So we don't want to forget about fats here too. But just like carbs, how there was like kind of 2 different types of carbs, there's 2 different types of fats. There's unsaturated and saturated fats. So we want to have a lot of the good, healthy omega-3 fats throughout the day. So those types of fats are all of your nuts, all of your seeds, your olive oil and avocado oil, avocados and fatty fish. Like these fats are amazing for your eyes, your brain, your gut health, inflammation, reversing Alzheimer's, all the things. Like you really want good, healthy fats. Fats keep you full. Fats have 9 calories per gram, where carbs and protein only have 4. So they keep you fuller longer. So we really want to have these nice healthy fats. So you just got to figure out how to sneak them in kind of throughout the day. Let's say you're making your oatmeal bowl, throw in chia seeds and flax seeds and hemp seeds. You're having your apple, put a good peanut butter. You're stir frying veggies, use either olive oil or avocado oil. In the kitchen, I really want you guys just to be using olive oil and avocado oil. No more vegetable oil, coconut oil, all that. The main 2 are these first 2 when possible. Avocado oil is great. It can fry. Like you can deep fry an avocado oil. It does not burn. It can get up to, I think, 500 degrees Fahrenheit without burning. So it's a great tool to be cooking with and air frying with and in the oven. And it doesn't have that much of a taste. So avocado oil goes great if you're like baking and cooking. So those are the 2 main oils I want you guys using. Seed oils are getting like a lot of heat right now, but As long as from the majority you're having olive oil and avocado oil, that's great. It's good, healthy fats. It'll help with your blood sugars. So 30% of your day, like 30% of your food in a day should be fats. We don't want to forget about it. 50% is carbs and 20% is protein. Just to give you guys, like, that's a very well-rounded day. So I just don't want to forget about the fats. We won't talk much about this, but there is something to say about foods that have like a higher glycemic index and a glycemic load. There's lists I could give you and stuff like that, but it basically just means like how fast like a food spikes your blood sugar. So for example, a banana is going to have higher glycemic index than berries. A banana will spike your blood sugar more and quicker than berries will, because berries have a lot more fiber. But like foods that have a high glycemic load, like for example, Rice Krispies or Cocoa Krispies, will spike your blood sugar a lot faster than. So this is important, but there's lists I can provide you guys too. So like a sample day, like a tangible like day would look like breakfast. You eat within the first hour of waking. It's oatmeal loaded with chia seeds, almonds, and blueberries to try to get that 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs. Then you're eating every 3 to 5 hours too. So if needed, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, that is fine. Like that will still keep your metabolism going. That keeps your blood sugar steady. Lunch, protein, 4 to 5 ounces of grilled chicken on a salad. So you're getting your vegetables with some good healthy fats and some carbs. You do not want to forget about fiber-filled carbs. So it's where the quinoa would come in. Dinner, wild-caught salmon, again, 4 to 5 ounces with your roasted sweet potatoes is your carb, and then your vegetable is your steamed broccoli with olive oil, grass-fed butter, and then snacks. So always, always, always pairing, which I'm sure is on this slide. Yes, you're always pairing the carb with the fiber, the protein or the fat, I'm sorry. So apples with peanut butter, that gives you carbs with healthy fats and protein. You're not going to get a blood sugar spike. There's been so much evidence in the research that states like just doing this simple thing, always pairing proteins with carbs, lowers hemoglobin A1C, your blood sugar, like so effectively, like by itself. If you make that only change, that really will help. Carrots and hummus is another balanced snack. Greek yogurt and berries. Especially if blood sugar is a concern, berries are going to be your go-to for fruit. Berries are so high fiber. They're so anti-inflammatory. So strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cranberries, cherries, anything that's red, blue, purple, that should be your go-to. They just have so much more fiber. They don't spike your blood sugar. So whenever you can eat those, definitely those are a great choice. Hard-boiled eggs with crackers, even like rice cakes and tuna fish, like dark chocolate with peanut butter, like, so there's lots of balanced snacks. You can be snacking, like that is fine. You're welcome to snack. Just you always want to try to pair, like I said, those carbs with those proteins. Okay. And then trying to reduce added sugars, which we touched on a little bit. So trying to just like not skipping meals. So there's so much research that says patients that skip breakfast like tend to like binge later on and consume more added sugars because you're just making up for the calories in the day. Trying to plan ahead and prepare meals at home will help with like the amount of added sugars. Reading your labels, trying to use more of the honey, the maple syrup, the coconut sugar, the agave, the stevia, and the monk fruit. Those are better options, more natural sugar substitutes. At Sarah Lynn, we have like a 10-week like weight loss without restriction program, and we help you build your own meal plan and grocery shopping list to try to help set you guys up for a really good week. And so we'll help you with that too. But another like really important tips that really have been proven to help with blood sugars is eating your protein first. So the order in which you eat your meal has actually been shown to really matter in terms of blood sugars after a meal. So if you start with your protein, followed by your vegetable, and you end with your carbohydrate, you will not get as much of a glucose spike and then an insulin resistant situation. So just changing the order in which you eat your meal also really helps. Plus, it guarantees that you fill up on your protein and your veggies too, which is an added bonus. But try to practice that. Eat the protein first, followed by the vegetable, followed by the carbohydrate last. And you really do not want to skip meals. I know intermittent fasting is like a hot topic. we recommend that you guys stop eating after dinner, and you fast till breakfast. So typically that's like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. or 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Like that is a very appropriate 12-hour fast. That gives you enough time for digestion and to reduce inflammation and all that. But you really do want to eat breakfast, break that fast, front load your calories in a day. If you think about it, you're using it. You're thinking, you're working, you're driving, you know what I mean? You're using your food if you're eating the first half of the day versus fasting and then eating the back half of the day, especially if we're talking about the goals of blood sugar balance. So that matters. So try not to skip meals, eating every 3 to 5 hours. There's always carbs and proteins. Like these are very tangible, like tips that really do work. At Sarah Lynn, we're always weekly setting like nutrition goals, hydration goals, and exercise goals. So we do not want to forget about hydration. Dehydration can also affect your blood sugar level. So signs of dehydration is if obviously you are thirsty. They say that if you're already thirsty, you're already probably a little bit dehydrated. If you have drier skin, drier lips, you're tired, your urine is very dark. Use your urine as like a marker. If you are adequately hydrated, your urine should be a pale yellow. If there's any headaches, lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting, those are signs of being dehydrated. And dehydration can lead to blood sugar spikes. So we recommend at least 64 ounces of water a day for everyone. And then some people obviously need more and some people need less. But the general guideline is 64 ounces, half gallon of water every day. That is water. Water and seltzer water both count. Like I have mine right here. They both count for hydration. Coffee does not count towards your overall hydration in a day. Technically, coffee has caffeine. I get asked this all the time. It technically does not count. So really try to get 64 ounces of water every day. And a lot of people need to add electrolytes back to their water too. Not everyone, but a lot of people do, because that actually, a lot of us are drinking filtered water, which is great, but you're filtering out the good salts and we have to put that back in so that you're not peeing a lot. That's like the number one complaint. If I drink more water, I have to pee more, but that means that you're actually missing some of the hydration and the salts. So we will help you find the right electrolyte to use in your water, but it helps you stay hydrated and not pee so much. So 60 ounces a day, usually with electrolytes. Make sure your urine is a pale yellow, and that will help not lead to any blood sugar spikes. And like I said, we also try to set nutrition goals, hydration goals, and exercise goals, but we try to we do work with what you guys like. We go off of that, we build. The goal is 150 minutes a week. However you break that up, that is the goal. It's like 30 minutes 5 times a day, or 30 minutes 5 days a week is what that breaks down to. But we definitely start with what you like, we build on it. And we also teach you like how to eat before, during, and after to reach your goals. Like if your goals are to lose fat, if your goal is to build muscle, we help you with that. But this physical activity really does show it lowers blood pressure, lowers cholesterol, raises your good cholesterol, helps with insulin sensitivity, helps with blood sugar balance. I mean, mental health too. There's so much more benefits than just like the scale and like your physical health. There's mental health, stress relief, all the things, sunshine, vitamin D, fresh air. So we really try to get you guys setting some goals, building upon it. Our patient portal lets you like sync a Fitbit or an Apple Watch to it. So it like tracks everything, and you get lots of good feedback from your dietitian. But starting somewhere really does make a big difference. And with the emphasis on walking after a meal, there's been so much research that if you go for like a 10-minute walk, even 2 to 5 minutes walk after a meal, especially dinner, helps with your blood glucose does not spike nearly as high as it would if you were just sitting. So that's really cool. Especially dinner, because it's usually people's bigger meal of the day. But just a 2 to 5 minute walk after your meals would be a great addition. And to like thinking about walking desks and all that stuff too help a lot, especially if we're like having a desk job and all that. And weight management, so losing like 5 to 7% of your body weight can really help your risk of developing prediabetes. Any weight loss helps with insulin resistance, cholesterol, blood pressure, all of that. But it's really about, like we are talking about, sustainable habits versus like quick fixes and all that. We really want to avoid binging, restricting, and all of that, because we want it to be like long-term success. So like anywhere from half a pound to a week of weight loss to 2 pounds a week is appropriate. We really don't want it to be more than that. And it's never linear either. Some weeks you saw whatever, but we help you with that. But anywhere from half a pound to 2 pounds is an appropriate amount of weight loss. Really realistic. And that way it's truly like fat loss. It's not muscle loss or water loss, stuff like that. As like more of a functional medicine dietitian, we really talk about your sleep and your stress and like these outside factors too. In regard to blood sugar, it's been 100% proven in the research that if you do not sleep well, you eat more sugar throughout the day, you crave more sugar, the blood sugars are higher. It's been very much connected. So the goal is 7 to 9 hours a night. And ideally, you're asleep before 11 p.m. I know that's very difficult, but it has been proven that the quality of sleep is so much better, more restful, more regenerative before 11 than if you were to fall asleep after 11. Even if you're getting 7 to 9 hours, you still want to be asleep before 11. So that's such a good goal to start with. Poor sleep increases your insulin resistance, and then stress too. We know that stress and cortisol raises your blood sugars like this. Your body's in fight or flight. It thinks it's like being chased by a bear, like you need the sugar. So that's something to think about too. Trying to just reduce stress, especially like taking a few deep breaths before your meal, a few like maybe meditation apps before bed, but all of that really does help too and really does affect your blood sugar. So don't forget about the lifestyle pieces here as well. But yeah, 7 to 9 hours of sleep in a cool, dark room. That really helps. Sleep hygiene is what they call it, really helps ensure a good night's rest. If you're waking up between 2 and 5 a.m., that's usually a sign of blood sugar imbalance, cortisol issues, especially if you like have to wake up to urinate. That's like it's a red flag that you're just not having enough protein throughout the day and you're having some blood sugar issues throughout the day. So implementing what we're talking about today will help that. Like 30 grams of protein, consistent eating, consistent carbs, that truly should help you not wake up in those early morning hours from blood sugar issues, if that is the cause. Magnesium also is great to take at night. Magnesium helps you get to your own melatonin. So instead of taking melatonin, which can lead to grogginess and stuff like that, magnesium, 10 different types of magnesium. Some make you go to the bathroom, some help you sleep, but magnesium glycinate is amazing for sleep, stress, anxiety. And most people are deficient in magnesium. Multivitamins don't usually have it, so it's a really safe like addition. You can't really take too much. Doesn't interact with meds, drugs, or anything. So magnesium glycinate might be a good addition if you guys are struggling with sleep quality and length and staying asleep and falling asleep and wired but tired and all of that. But again, we'll help tailor all this to your needs. So definitely prediabetes. If you're 45 or older, if you're overweight, if you have any more risk factors, you definitely want to be screening. Like a lot of these things, the hemoglobin A1C, the fasting blood glucose should be at your annual physical and in your labs. I really encourage my patients to get their labs done before their physical so that they could talk about these numbers at their physical versus you go to your physical, ask for them, you go get them done, and then there's no follow-up, you know? So we have access, I think you guys are in Buffalo, New York, but we have access to look at your lab results too, so we can help you during your visit, like interpret them, read them, guide you with them, but yearly would be amazing. Signs of high blood sugar, so things to look out for is lots of excessive thirst and hunger, lots of frequent urination. If you have a headache, blurred vision, or like extra fatigue, those are signs of high blood sugar, excuse me. But like this is saying though, sometimes you don't feel symptoms until you're really high, like above 180 to 200. So just good to look out. And then signs of late symptoms. So if left untreated, high blood sugars can lead to a buildup of ketones known as ketoacidosis. So this can cause a fruity smelling breath, super dry mouth, nausea, vomiting, confusion, shortness of breath, abdominal pain, loss of consciousness. So it is something to take obviously very seriously. And we as a dietitian can help with your very individualized nutrition counseling, set some realistic goals, monitor your progress. We can see you guys weekly, bi-weekly, whatever you'd like, but there usually is no visit limit on our visits. So we can be following very closely with you guys, that momentum, that rapport, making constant tweaks and adjustments to your plan. Work with your providers. If you have a continuing glucose monitor, we could be reading those. Insulin, like we're very trained in all those areas. So, and like one thing too, a dietitian is different than a nutritionist. Nutritionist, anyone could be a nutritionist. There's no like anyone. You don't need any type of certification, nothing. We're a registered dietitian. We have our master's degree. We're like board certified. We did 1,200 hours of internship. Blah, 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 blah. So dietitians can only be dietitians and we can only give you evidence-based nutrition. We can't like give you fad diets and stuff. So just be careful. There's so much information out there right now. So be careful where you're getting it from, but that's why we can really help you. And then two, the goal for like your blood sugars after a meal, if you are checking them, you can buy over-the-counter glucometers now where you prick your finger. The goal is to have 70 to 99 fasted in the morning and less than 120 if it's 2 hours after a meal. So those are like ideal ranges for your blood sugars to be if you're curious. Oh, and then there's so many things you could do with supplements too to help like improve blood sugars and glucose spikes and insulin resistance. Even just with cinnamon alone fights blood sugar levels, insulin resistance, like eating it, cooking with it, teas, like cinnamon's very powerful. Berbeриne's like not the new, but berberine is like a natural GLP-1, a natural Ozempic, a natural it really is. It helps lower blood sugars, hemoglobin A1C, your BMI, your insulin resistance, and it's something you can buy over the counter. We would help you make sure there's no drug interactions and the dosage and the timing, but berberine works phenomenal for blood sugars. Apple cider vinegar. Literally diluting apple cider vinegar and drinking it before all your meals will not only help digestion and acid reflux and heartburn, it helps it amazing, but it also will help prevent glucose spikes too. Just be sure to dilute it in water. You don't just want to drink it straight up. It can like burn your esophagus. So diluted apple cider vinegar, alpha lipoic acid, magnesium, which we talked about. Magnesium glycinate's amazing for the sleep, the stress, the anxiety, fenugreek. So there's lots of different like over-the-counter, totally safe like supplements you can add onto these diet, lifestyle, physical activity, hydration things, and will help lower your blood sugars as well. So I'll make sure you guys all get the slide deck and stuff, but we have different resources for you guys too. And different free apps. If you're curious, like I know I talked a lot about like 30 grams of carbs, 30 grams of protein. Like a lot of people are like, how much is that? How do I know? There are different free apps like Lose It, Carb Manager, My Fitness Pal, Chronometer. There's like amazing free apps out there where you can just take a picture of your food and the app knows how much is in it and the components and how much fiber and how much sodium and added sugars. And we don't want you guys to track all the time and be super regimented, but it's a nice tool to just see, am I way off? Am I way over? Am I way under? If you guys are just curious to try to hit that, if you don't have a scale and you don't know how to measure to hit your protein goals at your meals and your carb goals at your meals. So those are helpful. So we will leave some time for questions, and then there's probably a link right to our website and stuff too. So sorry, that was kind of a lot.
Thanks, Erica. That was awesome.
You're welcome. Good.
It's very helpful. Does anyone have any questions? I didn't see any in the chat, but feel free to unmute if you want to ask a question.
Yeah, for sure. Here to help. I wasn't looking at you during it, so
I also did want to mention the Brook app is available through Independent Health.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
It's a free app. Same thing where you can just take a picture of your food and then it tells you what's included in there. So just wanted to give a plug for the Brook app too.
Yeah, a lot of our patients use that. It's so great.
Yeah.
I think Brooks, someone said, can you spell it out? I think it's just Brooks, right?
Yeah, it's just Brook. No S at the end. Yep.
Sorry,
Brook. Yep.
Yeah, farro and bulgur wheat are also good carb options. Yeah, they're not like refined. They're good fiber-filled carbs. Someone asked about BMI. BMI is kind of outdated now. It's just a tool. It doesn't really tell you much about like the health of the individual. The labs are more accurate than BMI.
Hi, I'm calling in. My name is Sydney Moore, so I couldn't put my name in the chat.
That's okay. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to say this was really good, but I also wanted to get credit for being here.
Good, as you should. Someone asked about apple cider vinegar pills. Are they as beneficial? The liquid form is definitely more beneficial because you're getting more of like it's called the mother, that like cloudy fermented stuff. So it's possible to get the real deal, but if you need the pills, it's fine too. Awesome.
All right.
Perfect.
Anybody else? Any last minute questions? All right. Well, I'm going to share the recording, and Erica, if you're okay with sharing the slide deck as well. We'll send that out to the contacts in each of the groups so that they can share it with you guys today. So, one more, wondering about age and weight.
I don't know, quite sure what
I don't know what the context
the
is.
context is either. Yeah.
Okay.
But my email is just erica@saralynnutrition.com. So you guys are welcome to email me too.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll send you over the slide deck. But thank you so much for having me. Thank you for all for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Erica, and thanks
You're welcome.
everybody for joining. Have a great day.
Bye.